WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner, Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Hello, hello, hello. It is Monday at 4 o'clock. Must be the Community Bell Show. Thank you so much for joining us. It is such a pleasure to have you with us on this wonderful, sunny afternoon. It's a beautiful day. Yesterday was a beautiful day. And so we're just glad to have you with us. I want you to see my shirt. It's a heart, so I'm going to stand up a little bit so you can see it. Golf season. Golf season is here. Almost time. My golf league, the T-Set Golf Club, actually the oldest Black female golf club in the state, starts its season on this coming Saturday, May the 3rd. We will be at the Glen Oaks Golf Course on 13 Mile Road. We are going to have an absolutely fabulous time. We're looking forward to being there with all of our buddies and going to be a great time. But it is golf season, everyone. But I want to tell you something. I am thrilled. One of my daughters has decided that she's going to play golf. And so she joined this group called the Golf Collective. And it's a group for new golfers, new female golfers. And so they had their first practice session on yesterday, last evening at Belle Isle. But to get ready for that, she and I went out last Thursday and Friday at the practice course at Belle Isle. And if you haven't been out there, it really is a neat place because they've got now these wonderful computerized stations where you can log in and it will tell you how far your ball went. Depending on the club you hit, it'll tell you what club you're hitting and how far that club went. So it's really, really a neat thing. So try the Belle Isle Golf um, practice facility. You'll enjoy it. And they have this little neat par 3 course, and it's 9 holes, and it's a par 3. And so all you need is your pitcher and maybe a 9 iron and your putter, and you can go around the course. It's really a fun thing to do. And so that's what they did yesterday. I am so excited that one of my daughters has decided to play golf. Now, I was hoping that they both would, but only one so far. And it's interesting. The one that's decided to play golf is not the one who had golf in college. Now, my oldest daughter went to Florida A&M University, and they had to take either golf or tennis if you were in the business curriculum, because the director of the department, who was a wonderful woman, told them that the deals are made on the golf course or on the tennis course, and you needed to be members of the golf club or the tennis club because that's where the deals are made. Because if you have someone in a golf cart for 4 hours, that's what it takes to play 18 holes of golf, then you ought to be able to cut your business deal, whatever that is, or at least get to know who that person is and let them get to know you because you've got them for 4 hours. And so they had to take either golf or tennis. She does not play golf, but the one who went to Hampton University does play. She's the one who started to play golf, and I'm just so excited. She came over and we looked at all the golf clothes and golf. I told her, don't buy anything because your mother was a little bit Looney Tune when she started playing golf, and she bought everything under the sun. So she has lots of those things that I bought. She doesn't need to buy anything. And so I'm excited to have her playing golf. That's going to be fun. And of course, there's something called Midnight Golf. Now, Midnight Golf is a program that teaches young people not just golf skills, but skills to live by. They learn etiquette. They learn something about business. They learn something about how to trust in themselves and believe in themselves and have an attitude that they can achieve. It's a program that lasts from October through right now, through May. They take 250 kids each year, 125 girls and 125 boys. They interview those. You have to fill out an application. The young people are interviewed by counselors, and so they are selected based on those interviews. When I tell you they have thousands of young people who apply for those positions, believe me, it is quite amazing. Well, the Midnight Golf program has its graduation ceremony this coming week on the 8th of May. My grandson, Cranston Young, is a part of that program. So he'll be graduating from Midnight Golf. But they also take those young people on a college tour. And the college tour takes in 6 or 7 universities. They take them on this bus tour. Part of the tour is, how they have to make sure they take care of their rooms. They have to manage their little money they have because they only have to pay for 1 meal a day, but Midnight Golf pays for the rest of it. But they have to manage the money they have for that 1 meal. And they play golf on wonderful golf courses throughout the country when they go on these tours. It is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful program started by a woman named Renee Fluker. She has done phenomenal things with that program, absolutely phenomenal things with those youngsters, and they have touched the lives of thousands of young people since their inception. So I am just so excited to be able to talk about Midnight Golf and what a wonderful thing they have done. And we're going to get Renee on as soon as we can get her schedule and our schedule together. We've been trying to do this for a couple of months now, but we're going to get her. I think we'll be able to now because they've been gifted a new building, and they've moved into the new building now, so she can calm down a little bit. But we're going to get her on to talk about her thought and how she came up with the Midnight Golf program. The counselors for those young people are from all walks of life, all sorts of businesses, everywhere you can name, and they pour into those young people so much knowledge, so much of what the world is about, and so much of what they may be facing when they leave the Midnight Golf program. And it is for seniors. You have to be a senior to be a part of it. But I'm telling you, it is one of the best things you can ever imagine. So I'm just excited about the Midnight Golf program and the graduation ceremony that will take place on next week when I'll see my second grandson graduate from Midnight Golf and then be on his way to wherever he's going to decide to go. Now, they have until May the 1st to make a decision on where they're going. That's signing day for all these young people. He's not decided yet. So we're just waiting to see what that decision is going to be. Yesterday was the graduation ceremony for the Jack and Jill organization, and Jack and Jill of the Detroit chapter. Great chapter, great organization. They graduated. They had 7 young people to graduate, 2 boys and 2 girls from Jack and Jill. These kids have been in the Jack and Jill organization since they were probably 5 or 6 years old. They gave them great gifts, a great send-off. They had a speaker who was one of the previous Jack and Jill young people. She talked about what she's doing now and the future that she has achieved because of Jack and Jill. We had another young man who talked about the rite of passage for the young men in the organization. And it was absolutely fantastic to hear him talk about it. He was a Jack and Jill kid. His father has been on the program. Hester Wheeler is his father. Young Mr. Wheeler did a fantastic job in talking about the rite of passage for young men and what they should be looking at doing and believing in themselves, knowing that they are going into their world and they can do whatever it is they decide to do. So I was thrilled to hear the young people who were graduating talk about their path and the tears that came with some of those young people as they thanked their parents and they thanked the counselors in the Jack and Jill organization who have helped them for the last probably 12 years as they have gone through the stages of the Jack and Jill group. So this, this is a great journey. That was the first of his graduation exercises. The second will be, of course, as I said, next week when he graduates from the Midnight Golf Group. Then he is at the Cranbrook organization, where when they initially get into Cranbrook for their studies, for the extracurricular activities, they stay the summer. They stay 2 weeks. And he's been a part of that for the last 3 years. He'll have graduation from that. Then he'll have graduation from the, what do you call it? The Kappa League, and that's the young men who are going into the world, getting ready to graduate in the Kappa fraternity. Has a group of young men that they mentor him, and he's in that organization. And he's got another one. He, of course, the baccalaureate service at our church. So he is he's busy young man, and because he's busy, everybody else is busy. So he's got everybody running around doing. I told my golf league, I'm sorry, I may have to be an associate member again this year because I've got another young man graduating, and so we're really busy with him. His prom is May 17th. So get ready for prom pictures. We don't even have prom pictures of the baby. So get ready for prom pictures for grandson when he graduates or goes to his prom. And then graduation itself from Cass Technical High School is June the 2nd. So I'll be reporting on a regular basis on all of his activities and what he's doing because he's keeping us very, very, very busy. Yes, he is, but we're loving every minute of it, just loving every minute of it. You don't know how special it is. I don't think grandkids really understand how special it is for parents, but it was really, really, really special for grandparents to see them grow up and mature and become their own person in their own right. It's a special thing. And as I talked about young Mr. Cranston going off, young Mr. Grant is coming home. He's finishing up that first year of college. That has been quite a year of college. I want you to know. The first month or the first week he was there, we had a hurricane. And so they had to evacuate the young people. And so they were able to get away and they went up, they got to Atlanta with some friends who fortunately took them in and let them stay until everything passed. Then came the tornadoes. They had to take shelter then. Then came snow in Tallahassee, Florida. Now, the young people who were from the South and from Tallahassee were in shock because they'd never seen that much snow before. The kids from Detroit and the northern states were said, I had no big deal. we do this all the time. We understand. But of course, they had to shut the city down because they couldn't get around. And because Tallahassee is really built on a hill, and Florida A&M University is called the Seven Hills, and they have hills all over the place. And so they couldn't do anything because of all these hills and because of all the snow and the ice. They had some real issues. Then, lo and behold, help me Jesus, they had a mass shooting at Florida State University, which is right across the street from Florida A&M University. Fortunately, none of the students at Florida A&M were injured, but at Florida State, there were 2 fatalities. Heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking, but frightening. If you've got children down there, so frightening. You just have to pray. You just have to stay prayed up. I'm telling you, you must stay prayed up because you don't know what is going to happen when. But that God watched over my baby, brought him home safely. He'll be here this next weekend. He'll be home from college, and I want you to know that he didn't even have to take his finals because he was so good. His teacher said, you don't have to take the finals because you, young man on the dean's list, first semester, first year of college. Yeah, so he didn't have to take his finals. So he's resting this week. He's chilling out while all the other kids are taking finals. So we're really, really proud of Mr. Grant James Johnson. He's done very, very well. So he'll be home May the 4th. We'll be looking forward to seeing him. But it's just such a blessing, such a blessing. Now, my third grandchild, Miss Morgan, Elise Morgan, is away in Washington, D.C. for a field trip from her school. They left last Thursday, and she is at Academic Games. They left last Thursday. They will be back. Let's see, Sunday. I'm forgetting where I am. What is this? Thursday? Tomorrow, Tuesday. They come back on Tuesday. And so, all sorts of things going on with my young babies. They are special. So let me let you hear a wonderful song right now, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk some more.
I'm black and I'm mad. I'm black and I matter. God created me to be who I am. Oh, I'm black. God created me to be who I am. Oh, yes, He did. Oh, I'm black and I matter. Look at me, I'm black and I matter. God created me to be who I am. So glad He did. It doesn't matter, hey, how you view me. God created me for who I am. It doesn't matter what you say about me. I'm happy with who I am. It's not about color. It's not about race. It's God's amazing grace. Red, yellow, black to white. We all process in His sight. Oh, let's stand together. Come on, let's stand together. Somebody ought to stand together. You ought to stand together. Hey.
So, I'm back, but I have a special guest. My special guest today. You've probably seen him around some of every place, talking about business opportunities and everything else. You've seen him with his book. I got it. So you can see him live and in person, live and in living color now. Live, Mr. Anthony Brogdon.
Yeah.
Anthony,
Yes.
welcome to the Community Bell
Oh
Show.
man, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so
I'm
glad
really,
you
I tell you, I thought about it all day long to, and with the excitement of, I'm happy to be here, especially knowing who you are and your trailblazing background.
Oh, I appreciate
So there's
that.
another trail,
Another trail.
another trail.
A
Yeah.
trail I never even thought of. I thought, when I was asked to do this, I thought, me?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah,
lo and behold, it's amazing.
Some years later, as you
Yes,
told me too.
Yes,
Exactly.
so it's been a while, and
Yeah.
I've been doing it. I guess I can do this. But
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it. It's a wonderful
Oh,
place,
sure,
a wonderful
sure,
show. That our owner, Sandy Rose, is wonderful, and we've won 2 Stellar Awards.
Oh, really?
And we're just excited about that.
Yeah.
Yes, we've won 2 Stellar Awards, and the third one we came in number 2. So we're
Okay.
happy.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
We're working it. We're
Yeah,
working it
yeah.
nationwide.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
man, that's
it's been-
exciting.
It's been a blessing. It's been a
Yep.
blessing.
Yep.
I'm just so thrilled to have you. We've been talking about getting you on the show for a while.
Yes.
So I'm glad we've been able to do this because I want you to talk about your book and all the business adventures that you talk about and all the things that are going on. So talk. But before you talk about the book, talk about you, Anthony. Where you
Okay,
from? What have you
okay.
done? All you know how we are in Detroit,
Sure,
East side,
sure.
West side.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, well, I'm excited to be here, and thank you so much for having me. As I said earlier, and once again, I'm Anthony Brogdon. I'm a Detroiter, born and raised on the West Side.
Okay, West
Not-
side.
not
all
West
right.
Side, not far from University of Detroit Mercy, where I was there from about the age of 7 to end of really before, right after, during college. Where I went to Cass Tech.
Here. Those Cass Tech people.
Yeah,
I got a lot of those in my house.
I got the green and white
Yeah,
going
green and
strong.
white.
But then after that, I actually went to Oakland University up in Rochester, Michigan, and I studied accounting. I wanted to be an accountant.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is. But it didn't last long. 2 years after college. And 1 year being in Atlanta after college, I did move to Atlanta. 1 year working for an accounting firm while there. I said, no, this is not for me.
This is not me.
And I started my business, which was called Multi-Business Concepts. Didn't know what I was going to do per se. I was working with a guy who did artwork. And then I got contracts doing T-shirts for nightclubs. Since then, I've done represented artists. I've written a couple of books while I was in Atlanta. And then I moved back to Detroit in 91, and Multi-Business Concepts still going. And I did merchandising, but I love to write. And so the writing bug took over after about 14, 15 years in those various ventures. And I did my first documentary. I'm a filmmaker. And so the documentary, everybody, it is streaming on Amazon. It's called The
Really?
Great Detroit. It was, it is, it will be.
Oh, wow.
It took me 3 years to do it. It's all positive about Detroit. So I invite you to go out and Amazon, and I still have showings. It actually came out in 14, and then in 17 I did a revision on it. Probably about maybe 50 or so venues around Detroit. Then I took it to Windsor, Canada, Toronto, Canada, and it has been shown in London, England.
Wow.
And so it's all positive about Detroit except for about a minute. Yeah, to give it a little balance. You know what I mean? It's about a minute or 75 minutes.
Yeah, that's all it deserves.
Yeah, just a little bit. But even then, I lay some of the decline on Detroit on the automotive industry.
Absolutely.
Because at the time, and this is in the 70s or maybe a little before, the foreign car companies started coming on board, the Toyotas, Nissans, and what have you, and they were taking market share.
Yes.
We thought the cars were better, cuter, something different, and we had a decline. Yeah, cost less, gas efficient. Yeah, you can go down the list, right? But then, so the American car companies took a hit, and then laid off people. People left Detroit, so we went from about 1.2 million to where we had about 600,000-700,000 a day.
Yep.
And so people see all these abandoned homes, and that's because there's just nobody to live in them.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're on the back.
We're on
the back now. And so the Great Detroit, it was, it is, it will be. And it's a labor of love. That was my first film. And then in 2017, I released another documentary called Business in the Black, The Rise of Black Business in America. The short story is about 20 years prior to that, I had a Black History Month event at Lewis Business College.
Wow.
You might remember
Lewis.
Absolutely. And I had some business leaders there, and I can name a couple of names like Sidney Barthwell and Ed Davis.
Yes.
These are Detroiters who were very successful in the 40s and 50s and 60s, so on and so forth.
I'm glad you mentioned those because we need to make sure that our young people know who those people are.
Oh, yeah.
They are the ones that we are standing on.
Oh, sure.
You know, Ed Davis, the first black car dealership.
That's right. In America.
Over on Dexter and Elmhurst.
That's right.
Chrysler dealership.
Yep.
Yes,
yeah, you know it. Yeah, you know
absolutely.
It.
And Barthwell with the drugstores.
That's right.
Our kids need to know those stories.
Yep. We had Mays printing, and they're still going through the daughter, but he was also on the panel. Sonny Wilson, you might recognize that name. He was on the panel. So I had some heavyweights. I pulled it off on my own. And the room was packed. I videotaped this with a little camcorder. Didn't know what to do, just did it. And I found the film. So I said, I got to do something with this. And that led to the me producing Business in the Black, the documentary, which came out in 2017.
Wow.
But I couldn't use any of that footage. It was just a camcorder, couldn't, touch it up enough. And so I started from scratch. And again, 2 years later, from the launch of the production, the film came out. And I took it to over 40 cities across America.
You need to start the tour again because especially in this day and age of all that's going on, people need to be reminded.
Oh, sure.
They need to be reminded of the greatness of many of these people who had started with nothing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In so many instances. And so with that noted, I took the film to Tulsa. I've been to Sacramento, all throughout California, through Texas, on my own dime.
Wow.
Renting various venues to show the film. And some, were successful showings in terms of attendance, some weren't. But it gave me a good training ground to how to set up a tour and do things like that. And so then that led me to what you had said earlier about my book. I guess I can show it. And this is it here. It's titled Black Business Book. It comes on the heels of the documentary Business in the Black. It's the same concept, but it's just so many more facts. And I go back to the little known stories of there were enslaved Black people who own businesses.
Wow.
People look at me and say, I never heard that. And I had not either.
Mhm.
And
Give
when
us
I
an
stumbled
example of
across
some of
that,
those.
well, the first example that I give is a guy by the name of Frank McWhorter, born in 1777, enslaved. His enslaver was a carpenter. He built the houses in the community. I mean, we all think the
Mhm.
enslavers were farmers and did cotton and tobacco and so on and so. But his guy, he built the houses, and he told Frank to do it. Frank
Wow.
got so good at it. Frank understood how to
Mhm.
run the business. Frank said, "Hey, man, can I keep a little bit of the money?" The guy says, "All right." So
Mhm.
he let him keep some of the money. Frank, and this is another little known story that I had not known, is that there were enslaved Black people who bought their freedom. Frank
Mhm.
bought his freedom and the freedom of 18 other people. They
Wow.
nicknamed him Free Frank. He
Free
moved
Frank, I
away from the
love it.
town and bought land in Illinois. And he is one of the first Blacks to incorporate his own town called New Philadelphia, Illinois.
Wow.
It's an amazing story. And so this is what I talk about.
Absolutely.
And this has become like a mission of mine, and I do it every day in some form or fashion. He's just one of them, and I'll go quick on another one. There's a guy by the name of C.R. Patterson. C.R. Patterson, born enslaved. What his job was to fix the horse and buggies. I mean, the strap would break, the wheels. We kind
All
of
of
don't
that.
think of those normal things that would happen in everyday, life, but the wheels would break. CR, go fix it.
Uh-huh.
CR would go do it. He got so proficient that when he got his freedom, he went into business fixing horse and buggies. Well, let me add the other twist to it. CR gets married. He has family. He's got one son in particular named Frederick Patterson. He sends him to Central State University.
Oh, wow.
Goes there, studies engineering. He comes back to the family business, and now the cars are motorized.
Mhm.
They started a motorized car making manufacturing company that was competing against Henry Ford called
Oh,
Greenfield Motors.
I bet that
This
didn't
is in
last
Greenfield,
long.
Ohio. No, it lasted about 15, 20 years.
Really?
Yeah, they were beating
Oh.
him because, the
I'm about
brothers
to
get
say,
involved, and now they
yeah.
got headrests and sunroofs and all that. So they doing colors and everything else. He beating Henry Ford.
Oh, I love
Because
it.
Henry Ford just had that
Did
assembly
it, did
line,
anybody go by?
and it was all black.
Mhm.
And he was beating Henry Ford
Oh.
for a moment, but I mean, he did quite well.
Oh, I bet
And
that.
and it's those kind of stories.
Oh, wow.
One more right quick.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go down in terms of a female. There's a lady that is considered, I consider her the first Black fashion designer, and her name is Elizabeth Keckley, and she's born enslaved. Well, on the plantation, somebody's clothes need to be repaired.
Yeah.
My pants don't fit, master, hey, my belt, I lost weight working out in the field. Can you help me? Elizabeth, go alter the pants.
Mhm.
Elizabeth says, hey, I can help you with that dress. That's what he tells the mistress. I can help you with that dress. Oh, yeah, okay. Then she adds her own touches. And so she gets so good that, and this is a little known story, they allowed her to travel from the South to North without them. Didn't know that.
Wow.
And so she would go up north, and in particular to the Washington, D.C. district, became very good friends with a lot of the political elite, white women in Washington, D.C., and she was designing dresses.
Oh,
And
wow.
became personal friends with Mary Todd Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's wife. Well, she's making money. She sent whatever she could keep, what have you. She talks her enslaver, allowing her to buy her freedom, and she moves to Washington, D.C. And these are the kind of stories,
Wow.
and it all started from that panel discussion I had at Lewis Business College. And this is the one thing, you never know how life kind of takes shape and
You really
form.
don't. You don't know what's coming.
I never thought that I circled back to that.
Accountant Anthony.
Yeah, an accountant. An accountant. And circle back to that moment. And Black business history is my angle.
Wow.
And so that's what I talk about in the book. Another story is that there were enslaved Black people who went to college.
Really? Talk about that.
Well, there were 3 HBCUs open before slavery ended. Who was going there but Black people?
Yeah.
The HBCUs. Cheney in Cheney, Pennsylvania was open in 1837. Now that
Yeah,
might be a
but-
little play on words to
Yeah.
say they were enslaved, but some of them had been
They had
enslaved
to have
anyway.
been, yeah.
And I mean, there's one lady I cited in the book that she was a runaway and went to college
Wow.
in Oberlin, Ohio. And Oberlin at the time was accepting Black people to go to college. Dartmouth was one of those Ivy League institutions that had a long celebrated history of accepting Black people, even as far back as the early 1800s.
Wow.
The first Black guy, as they might say, and it's always hard to say the first, but let's go with that. He got a college education in 1823. Alexander Twilight. You can't stop us. And this is
You
what I
really
talk
can't.
about.
You really can. That's one of I'm glad you said that, because I hear a lot of people right now just moaning and groaning about what's going on. So don't, it's okay. We're going to be okay.
Oh, that's
We've
right.
always been okay.
That's right.
Now the people that are going to be jumping out the windows are the other folks who won't be okay.
Yeah, who can't take
don't
the
know-
pressure.
Yeah, they can't take the pressure.
Can't take
Don't
the
know
pressure.
how to deal with adversity.
That's right.
Don't know how to deal with tough times when you don't have as much food on the table as you want and you
That's right.
can't go to the places you want. They don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, yeah.
We've been
sure.
dealing with that all our life.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we're going to be
sure.
just fine.
Yeah.
This will pass
Yes.
and we'll still be here.
Yeah. And
Dealing with it.
and not just that it will pass, we're going to, because they bring light to history, Black history in particular, we're going to do a lot of things to make sure that we keep it alive.
Exactly.
That's part of my mission. And I'm not the only one. There's a bunch of historians running around here that's teaching in various schools, from grade school to high
Absolutely.
school to college, writing books on it, and associations. The museums are thriving in some respects because now there's a heightened, exposure and interest in Black history. I spoke in West Palm Beach, Florida, back in January, in a high school in Florida, and I told them some of the stories. Man, it was packed, and
They were
I
probably
couldn't
so
believe
happy
it.
to have you,
I could not
because
believe
you know what
it.
they're doing in Florida. They're trying to take all the Black
They're
history
trying to take
out.
it away, yeah. But there's those efforts.
Mhm.
There are people who said, "I'll go to jail to keep this alive." And a lady I interviewed, I have a podcast also, and I interviewed a lady on my podcast who is out of Florida. There's an organization she's executive director of called Faith in Florida, and what they're doing is signing up churches all throughout the state. She said we've signed up 500. We give them a curriculum,
And
help
let
them
them
coordinate
teach
the
it.
programs and so on, and are very effective.
Well, this is not our first rodeo, because that's how
No.
we learned in the first place.
That's right.
We learned in church.
That's
When
right.
they wouldn't let us go to school, we learned in the church.
That's right.
That's what happened. So
That's
this
right.
is not new.
That's right.
We just
It-
go back to what we know how to do.
It's funny that when Booker T. Washington became president of Tuskegee, the school was in the church. There was no building. And I was just in Tuskegee a little while ago, a month or so ago. He's got one of the largest campuses in that whole state. I'm talking about among any institution.
Really?
All the campuses. The white folks were so mad. They petitioned the governor and said, "My man can't buy no more land." He had a hospital on there. It was a whole community, and it's called Tuskegee Institute.
Yeah.
They had their own zip code. They were that
Their own
large.
zip code.
Their
I
own
love
zip
it.
code.
But like I said, we will do what we need to do to get by and
Oh,
survive
yeah.
and thrive.
Yeah.
We will be okay.
Yeah, we will.
We will
and,
be
and,
okay.
and as we are on a Christian station,
Mhm.
God is what carries it through.
Don't even
And
start- don't
that's
start
what
talking
carried
now.
those people
Don't start.
through
You-
enslavement,
it.
so on and so forth. It was God. They
Say it.
and so many of the business leaders and abolitionists, they were ministers.
Mhm.
They
Yes.
understood the
They
power,
understood the power.
of God coming through.
will make it happen. When you aren't even thinking about it, he's working.
That's
And
right.
I hear you talk about Sonny Wilson, and my brother did much of what you do also
Mhm.
in his films and documentaries. And Sonny Wilson was one of his good friends.
Oh, okay.
And Sonny Wilson, I knew Sonny well, and he
Mhm.
would have his Sonny Wilson Awards when he would do all of his Joe Louis items and his Joe Louis Awards programs.
Oh, yeah.
And Sonny Wilson was one of the guys that there's an award named for Sonny Wilson.
Is that right?
Yes, and so
Yeah. Yeah, he's an icon.
Oh yes,
back in
I
his
knew
day,
Sonny
for
Wilson
sure.
well, and
Yeah.
Sonny was maybe as tall as I am.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. With a bow tie.
Yes, always with a bow tie.
Always with a bow tie. That's
But I
right.
remember so well when his last restaurant closed. It was in where Capitol Park is
Yes.
over on Griswold.
Yes.
Sonny had a restaurant over there, a
Yes.
bar,
Yes.
and the lights had been turned out. And so what Sonny did was, oh well, he set up a shop on the streets. So we sit outside on
Oh,
the
is that
sidewalk,
right?
and
Yeah.
had drinks,
Yeah, I'm
and the
sure he
bar was still
did.
open.
Yeah.
And we had a ball, but
Yeah.
his Sonny was a special
Special guy. All
special
those
guy.
guys were.
They
And
were
they're the leaders
very,
and the
very
pillars of our
special.
community.
And you know, when you talk about your book, the Black Business Book, the Green Book,
Mhm.
that was given out to people as they got off the train in major cities to tell them where the Black community was and where the barber shop was, and
That's
the
right.
beauty shop, and the
Right.
grocery store, and all the things that welcome Black people. There was one for Detroit
That's right.
that laid out all of the places you could go. The book was that thick.
Oh my God, really?
And I have one someplace. My
Is
brother
that
had the
right?
last one. It
Yeah.
was dated 1944, 45.
Is that right?
But the Green Book was given out by the porters
Yes.
secretly.
That's right.
to,
That's
all
right.
to all the Black people who got off the trains
That's
coming to
right.
the cities
That's
that
right.
talked about where you would go.
Mhm.
And when you saw the movie Green Book, I mean, it was real.
Yeah,
was really a
that was a
Green Book.
depiction of it.
That was a
Yeah,
depiction
I
of
talk
it.
about the
Mhm.
Green Book in my book, and one of the little known facts is the guy who actually was the publisher of it was a mailman, and that's how he kind of
Yes.
got started. And he had able to contact with so many other mailmen, and then the train porters were able to distribute it, and it was a safekeep
Yes.
for people as they traveled through the South,
Yes.
so that they knew where to go and they used it
And not
in that
just the
regard.
South,
And that was
the
smart.
The North
That-
also, because
yeah.
Detroit had one.
Yeah, yeah, right,
It's
right,
in
right, right.
And it's so interesting as we look now at what used to be Black Bottom,
Mhm.
and what used to be Paradise Valley. That Green Book depicted all of the places in those areas where you could go that were Black owned.
Yeah,
And when you look at the number of them, it was quite incredible.
yeah.
It
Oh,
was
sure.
quite incredible.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it's that's just one of those little known secret stories.
Yes.
And what he did was he saw a niche and he filled it.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that it was a labor of love for him. And there were so many other instances like that people did to survive and overcome those various odds that they faced in terms of racism and so on and so forth. And we'll always do it. So that's what I talk about,
I love it.
and I call it good Black history. And people say, well, what is good Black history? Because so often, I remember growing up, I only heard for the most part about the beatdown, about what happened in the civil rights, what happened in slavery, what happened in Africa, what happened with in Alabama's and Mississippi's, and it even made you fearful of going to some of them states when hearing some of the stories. And I do talk about that. I talk about what happened in Tulsa, but Tulsa was not the only Black Wall Street in America by no stretch.
I would call Paradise Valley a Black
Oh,
Wall
it's no
Street.
question.
That was our own personal Wall Street.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah, all of them. I mean, Durham, North Carolina,
Yes.
they had theirs, and so many other cities where what we said was, we as Black folks said, okay, you don't want us to come to your restaurant. You don't want us to, people have said when they were going to clothing stores, they couldn't try the clothes on. If they touch it, they better buy it, or get accused of stealing it or whatever.
Exactly.
So they said, well, you don't want us to, give us fair and equal treatment. We'll start our own. And just stay on that side. We stay on our side. There'll be no trouble. They got mad at that.
I know.
They got upset. They said, hold on now. We're going to treat you any way we want to treat you. And you still got to take it. We want you to sit in the balcony at the movie theater one day a week.
Yes.
It's hot. We want you to sit in the back of the bus in Alabama.
Yes.
It's burning up. That's, in the back of the bus.
The back's always hottest.
That's the hot. That's where the engine is.
That's right.
I always thought it was a joke. I said, well, if it gets cold, did it make you sit in the front of the bus and they go sit in the back? I always wondered that. But, and so that's what we said. Okay, well, we'll build a home.
Yeah.
And then they got mad at that. We talk about that in the book. And they did it in a few ways. It's not just the riots and the massacres, but they did it through building those highways as they did in Detroit.
That's 375.
Yeah, that's right.
There it is.
And it's all across. I got 50 of them in my cities like that in America, and almost every city I have talked to said, yeah, they took that freeway and went right through our district,
right through it.
And there's noted in Detroit when they did it, they could have curved and would have been a little easier if they curved another mile in a different direction, but they didn't want to do it. Yeah, that's right.
And even in Hamtramck, they did the same thing. When you go through that big curve in Hamtramck, that's because they were going around the white community and took out the black community.
Yep.
They sued.
Yes.
They sued and won.
Is that right?
And interestingly enough, they just won the settlement. Well, it's been within the last 15, 20 years, but I happen to sit on the Wayne County Economic Development Authority.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
And they brought it to us, and they finally won. And that's when you see those new homes that are built along the service drive. That's a part of the law. That was a result of that lawsuit that was filed. That they had to build them and they had to give them to them at low prices.
Yeah, that's right. I've heard that story.
Yes. And they did the same. I-75 was a destructive tool that they used to destroy black communities.
As we talk about that and from a business perspective, but just in otherwise, let me also say, black people never did get a handle on being enslaved. We did all we could to escape that institution. There's one guy, I'll give you this story, it's kind of unique. His name is Henry Brown. And Henry Brown was so upset, and understandably so, they selling his family further south, separating him and what have you. He built a box. He put himself in a box and shipped the box to freedom.
Oh, wow.
They call him Henry Box Brown.
Oh, wow.
There were black people who, if they could, because you're so far south, you can't run north. I mean, that's a long way. Harriet Tubman, and she did 18 trips, and she's an icon in her own right. But she just went to Maryland. She didn't go to Louisiana. She was going to get her family out of Maryland and maybe parts of Virginia because she was born and raised in Maryland.
Yes.
Her and Frederick Douglass. And so if you were further south, you could go to Florida. Florida was in the early 1800s was under Spanish rule.
Oh, that's right.
And so you could get to Florida, and then they say if you could, say I, accept the Catholic religion, they give you a gun and you can shoot back in Florida. Another thing that was kind of unique that I come to find is that many of them would run into the woods. And would develop communities in the woods, in the swamps.
Wow.
They call them the maroon community. And that's what Rosewood is. It's a maroon community. It's deep in the swamps. There's nothing near Rosewood. And they tell the folks, the racists, you come in here, you're gonna have a fight on your hands. So you gotta let us go.
And they didn't come in.
And they probably tried it. Well, they did burn Rosewood down after a while, but that was just after the city had developed and so on and so forth, and they were free. And then they used the white girl theory as a reason to start that. Yes. Same thing they did in so many. Oh man, so many of them. They said he whistled at a white girl. Let's kill him. He brushed a white girl. Let's kill him. So on and so forth. And what's so unique, when I was in Tulsa, the lady who introduced me, and they made me cry in Tulsa. They made me cry because they gave me a proclamation from the state of Oklahoma and the city of Tulsa.
Wow.
The room was packed. I said, y'all don't even know me. And they said, but we heard about what you're doing. And it was packed. And then earlier they had a luncheon in my honor. And I walked around the Greenwood district and I saw the placards in the ground where this business and that business was. I got a haircut in the barbershop that was in Black Wall Street. I ate at a restaurant that was right across the street from the barbershop. And they said, but the guy that was accused of raping the white girl, they were dating. And even more so, they end up getting married after he fled Oklahoma. Now, I was kind of mad about that. I said, you should have let that go.
That's right.
You should have let that go, man, after all that destruction. But he was in love. He was in love with her.
Do strange things.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh my
But it was crazy. But this is the other thing that is to be noted. After they bombed Tulsa and what had happened, they built it up bigger than and better than before. People don't talk about that.
Don't talk about that, but you know what?
Yeah, they had more businesses.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
We will be okay. And like I said, that I look at some of what's going on now, and people are trying to panic. So leave it alone.
Yeah, because God got
be
this.
still.
Yep,
God
that's right.
got this.
God's
We're
got
gonna
this.
be okay.
It had them,
We're
and it
gonna-
has
and
us
it
too.
has us. And
Yes.
thank you so much for
Oh
joining me.
man,
Oh
this
my
has
God.
been good. I got a chance to
Come
talk.
back.
Yeah.
Come back and tell some more stories. I'm loving these stories you're telling.
I got a
loving
book
it.
full of them.
Well, you gotta come back. You gotta come back.
Yes.
I am so glad to have had you with us.
Thank you. Let me do
this
this
has been a
though
pleasure.
before we go.
Uh-huh,
Let me say my
absolutely.
website, everybody, and this is
Okay.
where you can get the book. I even cut the big man at Amazon out.
All right.
I was at Amazon and he caking his cut. He got enough cuts. So just go to my website, businessintheblack.net.
Okay,
Go to
business.
businessintheblack.net is where you can get you a copy of this, what I say, and other people have said to me, America's #1 Black business history book.
Business
Go to
in-
businessintheblack.net. And it's easy to remember because
Yeah.
when you in business, it's either black or red.
There you go.
And the red is not good. That means you're losing money.
That's right.
And the black is a good thing. So that's
This-
where you go to get you a copy of America's #1 Black business history book, Black Business Book. And you
hear
can
that?
also, on there is where I'll be speaking because
Oh, perfect.
I'm in Philadelphia in 2 weeks. I'm in Beaufort, South Carolina,
Okay.
2 weeks after that. And I got a bunch of Juneteenth. Juneteenth
Juneteenth
is coming up,
yeah.
everybody. There's a bunch of Juneteenth things that I'll be doing and speaking.
Oh, I'm loving
And
it.
then after that, I'm having my own festival
All right.
in Mount Bayou, Mississippi.
Bayou, Mississippi.
Mount Bayou, Mississippi. All them black
All
folks
right.
in that
I
town
love it.
came from the same plantation.
I love it.
And so businessintheblack.net is where you can learn about all that I'm doing. And again, we see each other. And,
We'll see each other.
and I thank you so
You'll
much
come
for
back.
having me
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
gonna have you
the
again.
#1
I'm gonna have you
show, WVTC Detroit.
There you go.
Winning victory through Christ. Is that how it goes?
That's a stellar award-winning radio station.
Twice.
Yes.
Not just
Not
once.
twice.
Yeah, and the other time they had to give it to somebody else. They said, "No, man, it's got to be,
Somebody
got
else
to be a
gotta do
fix
that.
here."
Thank you so much for joining us. We are so happy to have had my guests here. Businessintheblack.net.
That's it.
Remember that. Go buy the book.
Yes.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
We'll see you next Monday, 4:00, Community Bell Show. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Community Bell with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. This broadcast was brought to you by WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, tell a friend to tune in. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern to the Community Bell Show, right here on WVTC Radio Detroit. You're listening.
Detroit, 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 Detroit. Get ready. Two gospel music powerhouses are coming together for an unforgettable night of music and ministry. It's the annual fellowship featuring the Detroit Gospel Music Workshop of America and the Gospel Music Workshop according to Chicago Choir. It's happening Friday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. at Mount Zion Baptist Church, 3600 Van Dyke in Detroit. Come experience the anointed sounds of these two dynamic choirs under the direction of Dr. Michael Fletcher and Malcolm Williams. General seating is just $10 and VIP seating is $20. Get your tickets from any Detroit chapter member or on Eventbrite. Don't miss this divine night of praise. Visit gmwadetroit.org for more info. WVTC Detroit, where gospel live. Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.